Okay, so the game list has been revealed. This is a low-quality image, but whatever. This is the PlayStation Classic. I wanted to talk about this for a couple minutes because I think it's, well, it's something. So take a look at the games, right? And then I'll tell you which games I think would have been better. I want to say that this isn't a terrible library of games. Not completely. I feel like there's a couple good ones on there. I don't have a problem with that. Like Metal Gear, obviously, Final Fantasy VII, great. You know, the Japanese version has different games, but this one has, it's got Siphon Filter, a game I don't think probably aged all that well. Metal Gear is still pretty good, but Tekken 3 is a pretty good one. The games on here that I know, I'm not the biggest PlayStation fan. I was more of an N64 fan, but I had a PS1, and Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite games at the time. And it's $100. Keep that in mind. There's no DualShock. So that's the other thing. So, you know, they couldn't do Ape Escape because you need DualShock for Ape Escape. And there's some other games that would have benefited from the DualShock. So, you know, you get $100, and these are the 20 games you get. I don't know. I don't know if I can justify that. I love the Super Nintendo Classic. There were some glaring omissions on that. This one, you know, I'm not like militantly upset about the classic systems. I think they're good for collectors. And I feel like it's nice to have the controllers. It's a nice novelty, but I also don't think, you know, it's just a collection of games that people pick out for you. If I were to get this, I would not play Rainbow Six. I wouldn't play Mr. Driller. I don't know what Jumping Flash is. I played a little bit of Intelligent Cube in a demo disc. It was fine. I don't know what Destruction Derby is. I've heard Cool Borders 2 was great. Battle Arena Toshinden, wasn't that an early title? So the theory is that a lot of games that were left off, like the notable games, are getting remakes. You know, and that's why they're not on here. Someone made a post on Twitter that I saw that I thought was interesting, saying that the Pizza Hut, was it Pizza Hut? Pizza Hut demo disc had better games on it than this. Here's the Pizza Hut demo disc. Crash Team Racing, Ape Escape, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Cool Borders 4, Final Fantasy VIII, Tetris, well, whatever version, Tomb Raider, Spyro, Gran Turismo 2, and Sled Storm. I mean, granted, this is a demo disc, but it's, you know, a couple of notable games that are on here that are missing from the PlayStation Classic. Now, I loved my PlayStation 1 because of the Final Fantasy stuff. That's why I got it. But then I ended up loving, well, why don't we talk about Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2? That's not on here. Rogue Trip, which would have been better than Twisted Metal 1. In fact, Twisted Metal 2 would have been better than Twisted Metal 1, or 3. I like 3 better than 1. 1 was alright, but Rogue Trip was the shit. Medal of Honor, one of my favorite first-person shooters of that time. It's a little clunky, but you don't need DualShock to play it. It's a game that has a great soundtrack, great sound effects. It's a really good game. It started the whole World War II thing. You know, no Spyro, no Crash. We know why there's no Spyro, no Crash, because that would cut into the sales of the remakes. Spyro's coming out soon. Crash came out already. Fine. Where's Wipeout? That was a launch title. No Parappa. No Jammer Lammy. Either of those games I haven't played. Now, I want you to understand, I know why some of these games aren't on here because of licensing issues, like Tony Hawk. It's probably miserable to renew and very expensive to renew all the music licenses. So I get why this would be difficult. And, you know, Parappa has a PS4 remake. Well, there you go. You know, so some of this stuff is probably really hard to get the rights to. Fair enough. But then you have like a kind of a semi-lame collection of games. It's not that great. Parasite Eve is apparently on the Japanese version. Vinesauce, you're telling me you don't want GTA. I didn't say I didn't want GTA. GTA is cool. I've never played the original. I'm sure it would be great to have that in nostalgia form, on this thing. But what I would say is that GTA is a good one just to have. Oh, it sucks. It's clunky. Oh, never mind then. Apparently they were being Kappa. Never mind. It's just nice to have the title on there, but honestly does nothing for me. Ridge Racer, I'm sure is cool. Does really not a whole lot for me. I would prefer Gran Turismo 2 because that was the one I enjoyed. But here's another one. Any Mega Man representation, Mega Man X4 would have been nice. Mega Man Legends would have been nice. Mega Man 8, which I thought was a good game. I just played it recently. Brave Fencer Musashi. Where's that? Brave Fencer Musashi was my shit. I love that game, and that shit was, I never finished it. If it was on here, I'd play through it. I don't know. It's just another really great game that feels like, well, if you're only doing 20 games, damn, why isn't it on here? Bushido Blade. That's a game I rented. Another really good, I don't know how well it aged, but it's a game that I liked. I liked renting, at least. Just, again, a lot of little games that could have been on here that would have worked. Alundra comes to mind. That's part of the list I wrote up. Resident Evil 1 is cool for historical purposes, but RE2 would have been better. And again, this is coming from someone who I know this is going to suck and it's going to be shocking. I haven't played Resident Evil 2. But the Resident Evil remake basically replaces RE1 for a lot of people because it's still got the fixed camera angles. And the RE1 remake is like an upgrade that people are really happy about. I liked it. I played it. But Resident Evil 2 would have been nice because you could play the original, and then when the remake comes out with the third-person perspective, you could play it there. And by many accounts, RE2 is better than RE1. Final Fantasy Tactics. I mean, okay, if we're only getting one Final Fantasy game, I get why Final Fantasy VII would be on it. That's important. That's a good business move. But Tactics is another really, that's a big one, and people love that shit. So, I mean, well, people are saying you might be able to load your own games onto it, like the NES Classic. I'm not talking about, like, jailbreaking into it, or hacking into it. That's fine. If you want to do that, that's cool. I'm talking about what you're getting for $100. And for the people that don't, like the Super Nintendo Classic was stupid easy to break into and put more games onto. It was 10 minutes. We don't know if that same thing is going to be possible with the PlayStation Classic. The games are bigger, by the way. Some of these games are like 500 megabytes, So I just don't know if I can justify $100 from me to get this. Because again, Mr. Driller, excuse me. Wild Arms, I remember being, good in a demo disc. Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. What? Rayman is a good addition. Yeah, but for me, it's Metal Gear, Final Fantasy VII, Tekken 3. Oddworld is good. Those are the ones I know really well, and those are the ones I really like. I've played the original Twisted Metal. It's okay. I like 2 better. I like Rogue Trip even better. So again, you have a lot of the problem is licensing, but also a lot of Sony's best games were from third parties. Like Nintendo can just pull from their first party stuff, and you have the SNES and NES Classic with Zelda, Mario, Kirby, and you can really make a system out of that, and you can sell that based on the strength of the first party. With Sony, they have to reach out a little bit further. So if they can't get their mascot at the time, which was Crash, because of the remake, that's not so great. Same for Spyro. It just sucks. And another huge omission for me is Castlevania. Symphony of the Night is in my top 10 favorite games of all time, I'd say, maybe. I mean, it changes, as you know, but Symphony's a great game that, I mean, for PlayStation, it's iconic, should be on here. It's not because it just came to the PS4. By the way, the PS4 version that they just released, bundled with Rondo, has the shitty redone voice acting. Let's face it, the original Symphony's voice acting was schlock masterpiece. it was perfect, but we know what that was. It was all silly and incredibly dramatic and amazing. But they didn't use that. They used, I think, a different version. It's like a PSP version, maybe. I don't know. So that's not on there. And yeah, that's my list, basically. Again, you can't do some of these games because Tony Hawk 2 would be a licensing nightmare. Maybe one of the best games on the PlayStation, but I understand why they can't have it on there. Ape Escape, they're not going to do because the controllers don't have DualShock, which, again, they want to cut down on costs so they don't have to manufacture the analog sticks. But that also kind of sucks because it's $100 for this thing. And so what I'm trying to say is there are probably some people that see this list and think, oh shit, some of these games are great. And some other people are probably like, oh fuck, I only know 2 of those games. I'm somewhere in the middle. I can't justify it. I can't do it. I bought the SNES Classic because that's my favorite system. It had good games on it, and then I was able to get into it in 10 minutes. So maybe if people are able to get into this in 10 minutes, that could make it a little bit more, you know, enticing. But again, you have to wonder, how much can you do without analog sticks? That's the other problem. So yeah, not the most appealing offer. I don't have an I don't have an NES Classic for similar reasons. It didn't really do anything for me, and I'm gonna pass on this one too. And I guess, you know, for me, if they did an N64 Classic, which was my favorite system at that time, not by a lot, by just a little, and they left off like Majora, or if they left off GoldenEye, and they will, because how are they going to get the rights to it? You know, there's going to be a lot of big omissions from an N64 Classic if they do one, because most of those games are in licensing hell or are Rare games. So unless Rare strikes a deal with Nintendo to put Banjo, Diddy Kong Racing, and like GoldenEye and Perfect Dark on, say, an N64 Classic, that's going to be another really difficult sell. Like, I'm not sure I'd be interested. And also, let's face it, the PlayStation controller was simple. It was fine. It was a little bit of an evolution on the SNES controller. It did the job. It was good. The N64 controller, I don't like it that much. It did what it had to do. It wasn't exactly a design that I'd like to see come back. They sell them like PC adapters, so you can play N64 stuff with them, with the actual controllers. But it's not my favorite controller by a long shot. It was more of a hassle for most games than it was anything else, and it's just I'd rather pass on an N64 Classic for those reasons. But in this case, there's a whole host of other reasons, and I think, again, maybe if there were 30 games and some of the other ones I liked were on here, I'd consider it, but not even as a collector, and I'm not much of a collector, but not even as a collector would I want this, I don't think. So anyway, that's my opinion. You know, tell me what you think. Let me know what you think. I don't really know if anyone's going to end up being like super excited about this list, but I'm curious to know if you are. So there you go. I want to do one more thing. Vappy, you can leave this as a bonus. I'll have to tell Vappy later. Leave this as a bonus. I'd like to share with you a review. So this is a review of Guy Fieri's restaurant in Times Square from 2012. Someone named Pete Wells. I'd like to read this review because it is excellent. I haven't read all of it. So Guy Fieri had this overly expensive, you know, restaurant in Times Square that I always wanted to try, and then it closed down, and I just said, who cares? But allow me to read this. Guy Fieri, have you eaten at your new restaurant in Times Square? Have you pulled up one of the 500 seats at Guy's American Kitchen and Bar and ordered a meal? Did you eat the food? Did it live up to your expectations? Did panic grip your soul as you stared into the whirling hypno wheel of the menu, where adjectives and nouns spin in a crazy vortex, when you saw the burger described as Guy's Pat LaFrida Custom Blend All-Natural Creekstone Farm Black Angus Beef Patty L-Top Lettuce Tomato Onion plus Pickle SMC Super Melty Cheese and a slathering of donkey sauce on garlic buttered brioche? Did your mind touch the void for a minute? Did you notice that the menu was an unreliable predictor of what was actually to come to the table? Were the bourbon butter crunch chips missing from your almond joy cocktail too? Was your deep-fried boulder of ice cream the size of a standard scoop? What exactly about a small salad with 4 or 5 miniature croutons makes Guy's famous Big Bite Caesar A, big, B, famous, or C, Guy's in any meaningful sense? Were you struck by how very far from awesome the awesome pretzel chicken tenders are? If you hadn't come up with the recipe yourself, would you ever guess that the shiny tissue of breading that exudes grease onto the plate contains either pretzels or smoked almonds? Did you discern any buttermilk or brine in the white meat? Or did you think it tasted like chewy air? Why is one of the few things on your menu that can be eaten without fear or regret a lunch-only sandwich of chopped soy-glazed pork with coleslaw and cucumbers called a roasted pork banh mi? Banh mi? When it resembles that item about as much as you resemble Emily Dickinson. When you have a second, Mr. Fieri, would you see what happened to the black bean and roasted squash soup we ordered? Hey, did you try that blue drink? The one that glows like nuclear waste? The watermelon margarita? Any idea why it tastes like some combination of radiator fluid and formaldehyde? At your five Johnny Garlic's restaurants in California, if servers arrive with main courses and find that the appetizers haven't been cleared yet, do they try to find space for the new plates next to the dirty ones, or does that just happen in Times Square, where people are used to the crowding? If a customer shows up with a reservation at one of your 2 Tex Wasabi's outlets, and the rest of the party has already been seated, does the host say, well, why don't you have a look around and see if you can't find them, and point in the general direction of about 200 seats? What is going on in this new restaurant of yours, really? Has anyone ever told you that your high-wattage passion for no-collar American food makes your television's answer to Calvin Trillin if Mr. Trillin bleached his hair, drove a Camaro, and drank boozy creamsicles? When you cruise around the country for your show Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, rasping out slangy odes to the unfancy places where Americans like to get down and greasy, do you really mean it? Or is this all an act? Is that why the kind of cooking you celebrate on television is treated with so little respect at Guy's American Kitchen and Bar? How, for example, did Rhode Island's supremely unhealthy and awesomely good fried calamari, dressed with garlic butter and pickled hot peppers, end up in your restaurant as a plate of pale, unsalted squid rings next to a dish of sweet mayonnaise with a distant rumor of spice? How did Louisiana's blackened... Oh, enter my email address. That sounds great. How did Louisiana's blackened Cajun spice treatment turn into ghastly nubs of unblackened, unspiced white meat in your Cajun chicken Alfredo? How did nachos, one of the hardest dishes in America canon to mess up, turn out so deeply unlovable? Why augment tortilla chips with fried lasagna noodles that taste like nothing except oil? Why not bury those chips under a properly hot and filling layer of melted cheese and jalapenos instead of dribbling them with thin needles of pepperoni and gray clots of ground turkey? By the way, would you let our server know that when we asked for chai, he brought us a cup of hot water? When you hung that sign by the entrance that says, "Welcome to Flavor Town," were you just messing with our heads? Does this make it sound as if everything at Guy's American Kitchen and Bar is inedible? I didn't say that, did I? Tell me, though, why does your kitchen sabotage even its more appealing main courses with ruinous sides and sauces? Why stifle a pretty good bison meatloaf in a sugary brown glaze with no undertow of acid or spice? Why send a serviceable herb-stuffed rotisserie chicken to the table in the company of your insipid rice-a-roni variant? Why undermine a big fist of slow roast pork shank, which might fly in many downtown restaurants if the General Tso's sauce were a notch less sweet, with randomly shaped scraps of carrot that combined a tough, near raw crunch with a deadened, overcooked taste of school cafeteria vegetables? Is this how you roll in Flavortown? Somewhere within the yawning 3-level interior of Guy's American Kitchen and Bar, is there a long refrigerated tunnel that servers have to pass through to make sure that the French fries, already limp and oil-sogged, are also served cold? What accounts for the vast difference between the donkey sauce recipe you've published and the donkey sauce in your restaurant? Why has the hearty, rustic appeal of roasted garlic mayonnaise been replaced by something that tastes like Miracle Whip with minced raw garlic? When we hear the words donkey sauce, which part of the donkey are we supposed to think about? Is the entire restaurant a very expensive piece of conceptual art? Is the shapeless, structureless baked Alaska that droops and slumps and collapses while you eat it or don't eat it supposed to be a representation in sugar and eggs of the experience of going insane? Why did the toasted marshmallow taste like fish? Did you finish that blue drink? Oh, and we never got our Vegas fries. Would you mind telling the kitchen that we don't need them? Thanks. Fucking destroyed. Someone said I actually ate there and it was good. Fuck this review. Well, now you have a counterpoint. So you heard the whole review, and then someone in chat said, I actually ate there, it was good, fuck this review. It doesn't matter, it's closed now, so. It says here, I mean, Guy Fieri probably only signed off on his name being used. He wasn't the problem behind it. You never know. The review was from around when they first opened. I think it was 2012. Well, whatever the case is, I thought that the amount of things that this person tried, and none of them were good, is shocking. Someone said maybe there's something called different personal tastes. I mean, I don't know. I kind of like cold French fries myself. I like Guy Fieri, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that there would be stuff on that menu that I would have liked. But, you know, when I passed by the place on a number of occasions, Times Square is not cheap. Times Square is extremely expensive, and that place was no different. You know, if you're going to go for $30, $40 for a dinner, you're going to want a level of quality, you know, or more than $40. You're going to want a level of quality that you can't get anywhere else. So if you're going to Flavortown, you want quality. Now, if people like it, and people liked it in chat, that's cool. However, I thought that review was fucking hilarious. And even though there was a couple spots where the dude almost relented and said, hey, that was all right, that was decent. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. You know what's unfortunate? It didn't last. The restaurant shut down. I don't know what's there now, but it's probably like a P.F. Chang's. You know, so more fine cuisine in Times Square to spend double the amount on. Did you know that the Applebee's in Times Square is more expensive than the Applebee's in other places? Also, someone just tweeted a picture to me. Okay, I want to show you this. Just before Soulcalibur, this is the picture on the wall of Guy's restaurant in Orlando. All right? So you know what he's going to do with that chicken. He's going to slaughter it, make some tenders himself. I'm not making this up. And then this is an actual menu. So you have Honky Tonky Double Barrel Meat Loaded Blast. A Sammy Hagar lookalike pushes your face into a leather bag filled with oil and you eat the whole thing. You get to eat a 13-pound burger. Guy's big balls. Snuggle up to a 2 4-pound rice-a-roni-crusted mozzarella balls, endangered with a shaved lamb and pork, and blasted with Guy's signature Cadillac cream sauce until dripping off the plate. Served nestled inside a tempura pickle with a side of maximum well-done duck skin. Let's see, the Reno popcorn-crusted popcorn chicken. Stuffed inside Guy's nothing fancy meatloaf, super banged in a volcano of Tabasco butter.
We pour it into Lucette Heel, smother it with our very own jalapeno sugar brew, and set it on your lap in a neon sign. Serve drunk and on fire. Add a Cinnabon and 2 more Cinnabuns. $4.95. Side salad, the Olive Garden. 22 pounds of wine-stunned Kalamata olives tumbled over chopped iceberg lettuce and served in a trough, family style. Ranch hose optional, but recommended. Captain Beefheart. Kalima! Natural black Angus beef heart, slow cooked on fiery sriracha honey, wasabi barbecue sauce, set on rotating lazy Susan. Comes with 2 drumsticks of fried mozzarella so you can rock out American style at your table. Oh, God, this is so fucking good. Panamania. Deep fried snake with a printed out picture of David Lee Roth stapled onto it and sprinkler sticking out of each eye. Oh, sorry, a sparkler. Wow, sprinkler would have been interesting. A sparkler sticking out of each eye, served with a side of Bud Light. You have to wring out a Hawaiian shirt. One more. Here, let's go back up. You can see I'm reading this in a very non-linear order because I'm a little insane. The Hobo Lobo Bordello Slam Jam Appetizer. We take 38 ounces of super saddened cheese-gutted wolf meat, lambaste it with a honey pickle wasabi, and pile drive it into an Ed Hardy designed bucket, sprayed with Axe and finished with a sprayed with Axe and finished with a demi-glaze of thick and funky mushroom dribblings. I couldn't even fucking finish the sentence. Oh my! Holy shit! Oh my God! $50 for the appetizer. I'm beginning to suspect that this is fake. What do you think, chat? Oh, that's so good. We put Guy Fieri's menus through an AI, and this is what came out. Anyway, thank you for the detour into Flavortown. I hope Vappy leaves this all in one video, so people are going to get a PlayStation Classic review, along with Guy Fieri. What do you mean they don't cook wolf at Guy Fieri restaurants? Someone said you've looked at that exact same menu before on stream. It was vaguely familiar, but you know my memory is about the same as a snake. Less than that. Oh, there's an update for Soulcalibur. Doing the update now. Preparing to launch in 9 hours and 14 minutes. Well. Vinny, if you had a restaurant, what would you name your dishes? Pizza, pasta, ravioli. There would be meat, just meat, mystery meat, Italian stallion, trash lasagna, that's a good one, a scoot burger, hang on a minute, it's not updating because something else is updating. What the fuck is updating? Empire's got an update? Really? Of all the things? Like a 10-year-old Half-Life 2 mod. 14-year-old. I might have to restart Steam. Sorry about this. We got sidetracked by Flavortown, and now I'm all out of sorts. Trying to get everything going. Play some fucking Soulcalibur.
Yeah, they released an update. Empires. Jesus Christ, I can't believe they're still doing this thing. Tons of bug fixes and changes and modifications. Holy fuck. That's dedication. I've heard about the new No Man's Sky update, which does the underwater stuff. But we'll talk about that while I'm playing Soulcalibur. This is all like going to be cut. You know, this will just be lost to the ether. I try not to do too much talking between games because I know it makes it difficult for Vappy to figure out a start or end point. And I also don't like when videos of mine start on a black screen and idle chit-chat for 10 minutes. Okay, finally the update is happening. Preparing to launch in approximately 15 minutes. Well, I should have did this while I was doing the Guy Fieri restaurant review. What is the update? I know that 2B is entering Soulcalibur, which people are asking for my opinion on how I feel about that. I have very little opinion because I never played Nier Automata. Except more characters the merrier. Vinny, you should play it. It's good. So, how much time you want me to spend on it? The full 90 hours? Alright, let me just dig up 90 hours. Just stop playing Red Dead Redemption 2. Throw on that Nier Automata. Oh, it's only 30 hours? Oh, okay. That's good. We're not doing this again. I'm not doing the thing again where I explain all the stuff. I appreciate game suggestions very much, but there's a limit to how much it'll work on me, I'm sorry to say. But how will people know? I guess someone could just tell them. Have you ever played Mad World? I have. It's a Wii game. It's black and white. It's exceptionally good and gory. So this thing is still downloading, and it's a huge update, but there doesn't seem to be any information about the update. It says 12 minutes remaining. Okay. Can someone explain? Oh, fuck. You don't see the other thing. There it is. Okay, so it says 22% here, 23% here, yet this is almost to the end. Hmm. Alright, how about I just play some Call of Duty Black Ops 4 instead? Vinny, is Final Fantasy VII your favorite game of all time? Because you sometimes talk about it more than Chrono Trigger. I've played through Chrono Trigger probably about 12 times total. And I've played through Final Fantasy VII maybe about 4 or 5. So, no, I don't think 7's better. I think it's also a little clunky, aged a little poorly. Chrono Trigger still feels good. No. I talk about it a lot because I do have nostalgia for it. And there's actually news. Like, there's the remake that's never coming out. There's the re-release on the PlayStation Classic. There's Square still actively promotes and uses clouds in Smash. There's nothing going on with the Chrono Trigger world. Zero, zilch, nothing. And I like Final Fantasy IX better than 7. There was another good thing. Vinny, guess we're just doing questions now. Sorry about this, everybody. I know this is probably really boring for a lot of people. Have you talked about Castlevania Netflix? I talked about it yesterday. It was very good. I didn't finish it, but I'm more than halfway through. Someone said Maple Story. Care to explain? I streamed it. I streamed Maple Story. I played it, I streamed it, and then I didn't touch it again. Again, maybe if there were no other games available this year, I would have played more of it. Maybe if it came out when I was younger, I would have played more of it. It was a serviceable game for what it was. It just didn't grab me. It's fun. It had good mini games. Just didn't want to keep playing it. Meat is in it. Which Final Fantasy villain has the best character model? What was the thing from Final Fantasy X? No, not Kefka's a great villain, but they said model. Character model. Was it Seymour? I'm thinking of, what was the summon? It was like a summon. I only played through 10 once. Behemoth. Was that it? That big fucking crazy thing? It had like a saint on it. Anima. I remember that being very impressive. Anima. Yeah, this thing. Okay, maybe this isn't exactly... This doesn't fit the criteria too much, but I think, it was frightening and weird. Is that a Jesus pendant around its neck? I guess so. Can you segue from Castlevania Symphony of the Night to Star Trek? Well, there's a Castlevania show on Netflix, and Star Trek is on Netflix. Wasn't hard. 7 minutes remaining until the update is complete. How do you feel about electronic music? Depends. I like it. I like making it a little bit. I like fucking around with synthesizers. Vinny, did you hear that the producer of Castlevania might be doing a Zelda show? Yeah, I'd be down for that. You know, there's a leak for the Zelda show theme.
This is the Triforce of Wisdom, Link. The evil wizard Ganon has the Triforce of Power. Whoever gets both Triforces will rule this land forever. You
Both
must help me,
Triforces.
Link.
Hey, for you, Zelda, anything.
Nice job, hero.
Hey, excuse me, princess.
Yo. Yo. Both Triforces.
Vinny, this is Solid Snake. I'm told that you play a lot of Metal Gear games, and that you've developed a joke of telling Raiden, in Snake's voice, to squeeze your hog. So, I only have one thing to say. Raiden, squeeze my hog.
Guess I should leave up an image. You know, people wondering, like, well, why is there a black screen? I don't see anything. Man, how slow is this download going? Or rather, how big is this download is? It says it's only a couple minutes left. 4 minutes? Fuck, if I would have known, man, I would have done this during the Guy Fieri break, and we could have had a nice smooth transition from one segment into the next, but here we are. Faffing about in the wind. You're all just pissing in the wind, you know? That's what they say. That's what they say. That's what Neil Young says. You're all just pissing in the wind. Vinny, back when you played Mario Maker, you randomly picked my level from the bottom bar, but you were talking about something else and didn't say a word about it. I just want to let you know that that was one of the most disappointing moments of my life. Damn. Well, hey, at the very least, I didn't hate it. What if I talked about it? I mean, this is your entire life here. Like, your whole life. But what if I played it and I hated it and I said I didn't like it? That would have been worse. Also, you know, it's a lot of years. That dude has been saying that for days. Oh, really? Oh, all right. Well, they got what they wanted. Slay the Spire is updated and there's an Act 4 now. You know, I was just thinking about Slay the Spire. I was wondering if that's been updated. I saw it on my Steam list here. Yeah, I want to check that out. The No Man's Sky Underwater update, I may check out. I kind of fell off No Man's Sky, even, you know, after it got pretty decent, because I just got bored. I want to find out if there's enough there. Like, there's apparently hours of new story added, so maybe it'll kind of fill the void where Subnautica left. You know, that Subnautica left. I'd be down to try it. Vinny, I take it you have no interest in Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. Well, I played it. I have it. I streamed it. Still no interest. I don't have the motivation for the Monster Hunter game right now. It's too much other shit, man. I'm still playing, are you playing Monster Hunter World, or if you jumped off that? I jumped off that like a month after it came out. I don't stick to games for too long. I'm playing Starlink a little bit, here and there. I am playing... I'll be honest with you. Every now and then I shoot. I haven't in a couple days, but I did a little bit of Black Ops 4. I'm not kidding. I did it. I like the blackout mode, and I did some of the online, you know, the competitive multiplayer. And it doesn't feel as ridiculous as the previous iterations. It's actually you know, people have been saying it's like a return to form to some extent. I don't know how true that is. But I didn't realize I needed a good shoot in my life. And it's definitely served its purpose. And again, I may not be playing it for very long, but I enjoyed shooting people in the face. So it was pretty good. It's pretty good. Vinny, do you go to Long Island for concerts sometimes? 4%. 4%. 29 seconds. Vinny, 7K people are watching you update a game on Steam. Well, you know what? Thanks. You know I'm just playing Soulcalibur and not something like Sunday Stream, right?